Hey, 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 Dr. Minesha here, affectionately known as Dr. M, welcoming you to the Peace Driven Leader Lounge. Welcome. This is your official welcome into the lounge where I have with me Tracy. It's such an honor and a pleasure for you to be in the lounge with us all the way from where are you tuning in from?
Buffalo, New York, I'm from.
Buffalo, New York. That's awesome. So, you have found a beautiful community of real leaders who are serious about real transformation. And so, if this is your first time following us on the podcast, I just want to do a little housekeeping to let you know that we're so glad that our paths crossed when it did. We are in a community with people who are mothers, husbands, leaders of work and in home. And we want to be exceptional leaders. We're not afraid to be able to raise our hand, to ask for support, and to be able to be self aware. This podcast is recorded. However, it has a live element to it because I absolutely have no idea what Tracy's going to say, and she has no idea what I'm going to say. So there's no editing over here. This is all real conversations that matter, legacy level insights, from leaders who really is bigger than just the numbers, the salary, and the title. We understand that it's whole life integration that makes true leadership. And so, thank you so much for joining us in the Peace Driven Leader Lounge. And as I introduce to you, one of the amazing leaders all across the planet, Tracy. Now, pronounce your last name. I don't want to, is it Paradowski?
Paradowski.
Ah, man, close. Paradowski. Tracy Paradowski. I love that. Now, tell me a little bit about that last name. I can't just leave that there. Do you know the origin of your last name?
Polish. We are Polish,
Ah,
yes, yeah.
yeah, love that. All right, so introduce yourself.
Well, I am Tracy Paradowski, as you have know, or
We have
said.
practiced.
Um, I am the proud CEO of Clever Girl Design Studio, located here in Buffalo, New York.
Awesome.
We specialize in logo design and helping business owners of all sizes elevate their business branding to the next level.
It's awesome.
We like to help you be consistent through social and online and offline, I like to say.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, and how long have you been in business?
We just celebrated our 26th year.
All right. So you know the highs and lows of entrepreneurship, right?
Sure do. Sure do. Yep.
Do you have a corporate background at all, or did you go straight into entrepreneurship?
Actually, 26, well, we'll go 28 years ago, I was working for an agency as the graphic designer. Um, at that time, we designed corporate signage for buildings, for businesses. So
Ah.
I would design it, they would fabricate it and install it. But then I got married, had my first child, who happened to be born with special needs.
Hmm.
So that meant one parent had to stay home. So um, that one was me.
Wow.
So I thought, a year after he was born, that's when Clever Girl was born.
Wow.
Because I said to my husband, I don't like not creating. I've always been a
Yeah.
creative. I don't mind being home, but I need more. So
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
can't I do it myself? So
Yeah. Why can't I do it myself? I love that. And that I believe is hitting the soul of leaders who may be working in a corporate space and are doing the exact same thing that they could be doing in their own business. Now, I'm definitely not like pro leave your job, everybody. I feel like everybody's journey is theirs and it's not a one size fit all. However, I can say that W-2 income alone is not what it is. So whether you have a tragic situation that interrupts the pattern or whether you have a child that comes and shakes the nest, I can definitely connect with that as I also have a 3-year-old now who was diagnosed with autism. It's the fourth child that I have that has a special needs. I have 3 other children that have ADHD and they don't require as much accommodation as my son, but there are curveballs. that causes you to have to make shifts, and you want to be ahead of that. And the best way to be ahead of that is to stimulate that inner creator. And that's what I can say about you, Tracy, is that, I mean, just 20 plus years in business, you made a clear definition of who you were around your identity. You're like, I am a creator. This is what I do. This is who I am. I don't care what the heck happens to life or, or what life tries to do to me. One thing I know for sure is I'm going to create. What is your powerful stance, you all? That was hers. What is your identity stance? What is your stamp? What is your logo? That's what I like to see it as. Your personal logo. Yours is I'm a creator, that's powerful. I love the idea of looking at those identity stamps as logos. I wonder if we were to make one for you, since you're the expert in logo design, your stamp being I am the creator. What would your logo look like?
Because I put family above all else, I think it would be, and I am the protector of my son who is now 26 years old. He will be 27 soon. I think it would be a woman who is hovering over her child
Mm. And
because
what do
that
you
is what I have done for the last, well, his whole life.
wow. And so what will you be creating in that? Because you're hovering over the child. 'Cause I'm a visual, so I'm seeing that.
Yes. Yes.
And then the I am creator, I'm looking at this as the tagline. So what you've created him, obviously. And then what are the other things? Because I feel like you're so much more than that mom. So what are some other identities that you would make sure is being displayed in your logo?
Oh, definitely artists. So I think
Mm.
as I am leaning over my child, there is other things coming out from
Yeah.
me,
Yeah,
which
that's
would
what I'm
be,
saying.
yeah, artist. And, I try to, not only run my business and create for others, but I also have other avenues that I create other things from.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I mean, that's a whole exercise in and of itself. I'm about exercises. Uh, so these are very micro exercises that bring mega results in your life, by the way. And so the powerful thing about coming up with these personal logos, these stamps, because it would give you more meaning, more clarity even, and what that looks like. I remember, I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you did your first logo for your business, but I remember the very first logo that I got done for my business. And it literally felt like someone did an ultrasound. Like I had my business baby. You're like, oh my God. Yeah, it's like it's a very emotional moment because it's like your business is in your head, but then the logo is like usually that first thing that you see outside of like the pen and paper and the computer. It's
Yeah, it's
really
become
cool.
real. Yep, it's become real. Yep, mine has evolved over the years because I could not decide. That's the one thing I can't do for myself is decide. It takes me forever. I mean, not
Isn't
anybody
that
else I
wild?
won't, but myself, no. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's odd how that happens, right? A lot of leaders, it's like even say it's hard to see, read the label inside your own jar. So, and one of my mentors said, "You're the hardest person you'll ever lead." And so it makes sense that when it comes to doing your own logo, and the evolution of it, it's tough. So let's talk about that evolution because I really do believe that that is like a blueprint or a mirror of the business. The logo is. It's like that visual. And so what do you feel like is happening when it's time for that logo to evolve? Like what usually is happening in that process?
when the business owner, whoever it may be, comes to me and wants to change it or feels that it doesn't align with who they are, it's
Mm,
because they've niched down. They've
mm,
actually specified who their target person is that they want to go after or to appeal to.
Yeah, so they've
So
gotten
in the
more clarity about their identity and
right,
their work, their mission.
right. So in the beginning, when you get the startups coming to you, they want the world,
Yeah.
right? So it's usually, very broad. And
Mhm.
then as they're in business for a long period of time, they'll come back and say, now this doesn't fit because my ideal client is this person. So
Yeah.
let's make it more geared towards that type of client.
And that, that encompasses the 5 senses, right? How does that client feel when they look at the logo, and how does it, look, and the colors, and what do those colors, what emotions does that color evoke, and does that match the emotion that I want them to evoke? It is so much depth into the design of logos that many people don't realize,
Right.
that goes into it. What is your favorite part about the process?
I think it's taking something and making something new.
Mm,
Um, for example, I'm working with a current client right now who has three different logos because he's got three branches of his business. He wants it put into one.
mm,
So we are currently working on how to incorporate all three of those logos that he currently has
wow.
because been in business longer than me.
Wow.
And he wants it so that he told me yesterday when I spoke with him that he wants it to be like the Nike logo where you see it, you know what it is right away.
Multiple brands, yeah,
And but so it doesn't matter how many branches he has,
right.
you know. So I
That
think the creative process on mine, because as we were initially speaking,
mhm.
things start jumping into my head. And then I start going, well, I see this and I see that
Right,
and
right.
that. So I think it's the creative process at my end where I'm trying to get into his head now and pull out what he's thinking that he wants it to look like. And
Yeah.
we're like this close.
Oh, I love when that happens. And then I've actually experienced not too long ago, because I've, in the evolution, and I'm really, as you all are listening to this conversation, you could see it in one lens as we were just talking about logos, or you can go a little layer back and see how multi-layered this conversation really is. So I want to challenge you and see what perspectives, and I would love to hear that in the comments, the different perspectives that you were able to pull after you really saw your brand, your identity, what you're bringing to the world as that logo, as that image, and thinking about what would be in that image and what would that tagline be, because I look at us like products. We are the product. We're not our company that we work for. We're not are the roles that we wear, and the hats that we wear. Us, the human, the woman, the man, the leader, is the identity. And when we really do that deep work, like you mentioned, that niching down and clarifying, and we do that work, then that's when we really hit our power. That's when we hit our power, because that identity, knowing that depth of identity, will transcend any type of hardship, economic hardship. Because once your client knows you, like your client said, they see you, they know what they're getting, and I don't care how the economy is. They trust that brand. They trust that logo, and they're going to follow your lead. That is impact. That's legacy level leadership, you know? And so I love the work, and I love the ways in which you can see it. Now, when we talk about just you being able to shift from working in the corporate space and then now moving into your own business and caring for your son that has special needs while still being married, that was a lot of different dynamics that was going on. When you look back, what do you feel like was one of the most challenging points for you in your life from shifting from corporate to entrepreneurship with a child with special needs? What really had you, like, feeling defeated that you were able to eventually overcome?
I think it was the balance between taking care of him and making sure he had what he needed and also making it seem like there wasn't any issues. Um,
Mm,
there weren't any um obstacles that I was going over because you're seeing the business, especially 'cause I started before computers even came out.
Mm.
I started in 2000. We weren't online till 2008, so it's only been 16 years that I've been online and had an online space, been in the
Yeah.
online space,
Yeah.
with my website and social media and all that. So I think in the beginning it was because he was the most important thing, and there were therapies and
Yeah.
therapists that needed to come to that. It was just a revolving door.
Yeah.
That once that was all done, then I used to work the business at night
Right.
when
That's
my
what I did
husband was
too.
home and he could help.
Yeah.
Then I would get a hold of my client,
Yeah.
get
That's
a
what I
hold.
would say. I would say I would work on my dream while my family was dreaming.
Right, right, because it
Yeah.
right, and I would do it till all hours of the morning,
Yeah.
wee hours of the morning, because I didn't want the person looking from the outside looking in to think there was anything going on,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, you
know?
wanted them to feel so what I feel like I think I hear you say is that you didn't want your clients to feel like your home life was not like it was, overpowering your ability to be able to show up professionally.
Right, I didn't want them to feel second to my family.
Gotcha.
Right, and I
Yeah.
tried to very hard in those first years until computers came out, we got our first one.
Yeah.
It was and it was, I have to say, it was maybe a lot easier back then in some ways because we didn't meet in person, we did everything over the phone, and then when
Mm.
we did meet in person, it was when he was in his room having therapy, whatever, they would come
Mhm.
and we would meet then, or I
Yeah.
would be able to go to where they were.
Right, right. Well, I think too, what professionalism looked like back then was a lot more streamlined and linear. No, one of the things I can say of the course of time, like back in the day, you'll go on a Zoom and everybody, that they had their screen on and they had that professional background and everyone looked apart and they had their makeup. Now you go on a Zoom, and whether it's a meeting or not, you don't know what you're gonna see.
Yeah, you
You
don't
see
know.
dogs, a cat. I saw a cat come by just in a meeting earlier today. Just cat just walked on by, person's in a cat, baseball cap, and they're still handling business. They're still talking, with clear, concise language, and they're still, making deals and all the things. But it definitely doesn't look the same as it did, being in business for now 16 years, just in the coaching space. A lot of the business happened online. And so I can say that that's made some room for more work life harmony. People are starting to have more grace rather and realizing like, hey, we're actually humans, guys. We're not just these high achieving robots or these athletes that are just untouchable. Like we have life. And it's so interesting because I really do believe that our society has created this glass smoke screen almost where it just oh, wow, like, and when you see them out in public or you see, one of your staff members or your boss or whatever, it almost feels like, "Oh, wow, so you do go to the grocery store," because that's what we portray, and it takes a lot of effort to make sure that our clients feel our team feels like they are the only focus, because it's just not reality, and I think that's why it makes it so hard to paint that narrative. So tell me now, what's been the biggest attribute to your success and, up until now, and just, what lights your soul on fire about the work that you do?
I think the biggest thing is just showing up.
Yeah.
Just show up every day. It is my passion. It's not work to me.
Yeah,
I
stuff.
I enjoy it too much for it to be put aside. I miss it when I'm not doing it.
Mm. I love
So,
that.
yeah, I do. I
Love
just
that.
enjoy it way too much,
Yeah,
and I've helped so many businesses.
yeah. It's like your fingerprint, like your marker.
Yeah, it's so nice to go around town because most of my
Yeah,
clients are local here, not say that I haven't helped people out of, in different states, I have.
yeah.
But it's so nice to go around town and say, "Well, I did that, and I did that, and I helped this, and this is why this looks like it." And not that I don't want I'm not a
Yeah,
boastful
boastful
person,
or
but it's
yeah,
nice to go
exactly.
around and say, "Geez, I
Yeah.
helped them that way."
Yeah, it's so interesting you said that. I thought about that as far as like Maslow's hierarchy of needs and where that falls because I was journaling the other day and I also, it's almost like that the ego or that other part of me was like, no, you don't need to say that. But I do feel like I like the feeling of being recognized. And it's not because I want to boast, it's because it's almost like the evidence of impact. Like when someone says, "Oh, wow, when you helped me do XYZ, man, when you said that, that really gave me the shift," or "I started my business because of you. I had the courage to leave my job when I got fired. You were the first person that I ran into at the gas station, and what you told me really shifted me." Like those, I see them as receipt, like evidence, like of yeah, yeah. And for so long, I kind of didn't want to say it out loud because I was judging myself for it. But it was like, yeah, no, I want that. I look forward to that day where, someone decides to have a party for me in my 80s, and they play the screen. They probably won't be screened now, be some kind of 3D AI
Hologram.
full body experience where they put the the goggles on or whatever, and they get to take me back to the time and the years where it happened. Who knows what they'll be creating? Talking about creativity, but I'll be able to smile and say, "Man, like you said, I did that. That's the work of my hand. That was the work of my obedience. That was the work of, my sacrifice." And that right there feels great. And that's what legacy leadership is all about, you all. So let me ask you this before we land the plane in this very meaningful conversation today. Seemingly insignificant because we're talking about something that people take for granted sometimes, the image of logo, because it's not the spreadsheet and it's not the big money outcome on the business, but it does attract the business. It does speak volume. It is the first thing that, people see and they make their impression, before they even experience the brand. And so that's why I do believe that it's small but significant, work that you do, big impact. Yeah. So what would you leave the people today? What is one thing that you will leave with them as they go on their way back into the world of stress and beautiful chaos? What would you say?
Two things.
Okay.
Don't stress the small stuff. I have learned that over the years to not stress the small stuff because it all happens to work out in the end. And just show up.
Mm,
Just show up for those that for your job, for those that you love,
mm,
and take care of yourself.
I love that. Show up. Show up for you, show up for your family, show up for your work. That's powerful. Thank you so much, Tracy. You've
Thank
been
you so
such
much
a
for having me.
jewel. Absolutely. Listen, you all, you've heard it here in the lounge first from Tracy. Um, one of the many leaders that we have that comes into our path that we are blessed to have. They give us the insights from their personal life and expert specializations. And they just share, legacy level insights and conversations that really matter, shift us into how we identify as a peace driven leader. And so, for those who are leaving, before you leave today, I want to just remind you that peace driven leadership is not something you'll find, it's something you create. And I want you to know that in this app, I Lead, We Rise, if you haven't downloaded, please do so because this is your time now to create it. I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. Bye bye for now.